Hey everybody, AC here, and welcome back to another episode of What Will I Be Watching? This time we're talking about summer 2021 and all the animes that I watched during that time. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. So for returning series, we've got the second half. We got the second half of Reincarnated as a Slime, season 2. And we have Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Season 2. And absolutely, absolutely love both of those series. Kobayashi Dragon Maid Season 2 is a million times better than Season 1. Season 1, they kind of dragged out a lot of the stories that were in the first 3 volumes. They dragged out a lot of the stories and had a lot of filler stuff. It was good, but it wasn't what I expected from an adaptation of the manga. Plus they also had, the dub also had, had their own thing going on, with, them trying to basically put in their own ideals and views on certain topics into the dub. So not gonna get into that. But season 2 was a lot better. Season 2 introduced Ilulu, who is my favorite character in the series. I made an entire video talking about what makes her so amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed the second season. And I would say season 1 is a recommend, but season 2 is a must-watch. And it's supposed to get a movie later this year, too. There's gonna be a movie, and it's gonna cover, my favorite arc in the manga. It's gonna cover my favorite arc in the manga, and I'm super excited about that. That's gonna be awesome. I'm absolutely gonna go see that if it ends up being in theaters. So must watch for season 2 of Dragon Maid. Season 2, part 2 of Reincarnated as a Slime, is a recommend. This one is a recommend because I remember my one complaint with the second half of season 2 is that they spent a good 5, 6, 7 episodes just having meetings. Here's a meeting where we say everything, we say what the plan is, and then a couple extra characters show up and they're like, okay, let's go to this location and have the exact same meeting we just had and reiterate the exact same points. And it's just talking, sit and talk, move to a different location, sit and talk, move to a different location, sit and talk, move to a different location, sit and talk. The only difference is the location of the talking and the number of people in the meeting, and that's it. The actual discussions are all basically the same thing. And it's just, it went on for so long. And when they finally did get around to actually doing stuff, it was amazing. But this is simply because the reason why so much of the second season here feels like it was dragged out is because it was. Season 1 covered the first 4 volumes of the light novels. Season 2, between the 24 episodes of season 2, it covers 2. It covers 2 light novel volumes. That's it. So, season 3, later on, season 3 would cover 3 light novel volumes, and that actually had decent pacing. It still dragged on a little bit for a couple episodes, but it was nowhere near as bad as season 2's pacing. I feel like season 2's pacing was kind of all over the place. I loved it whenever it did something really cool, like the attack on his kingdom, and the attack on Falmouth, and the war against Demon Lord Clayman, um, and the Demon Lords meeting. All of that was super cool, super awesome. But you have to sit through several episodes of sitting and talking and sitting and talking and sitting and talking to get to that point. And so I feel like season 3, they kind of found their groove to where they're not like bum rushing through a lot of these arcs like they were in season 1, but they're not like dragging everything out for several episodes. Like in season 2. Like season 3, it seems like they actually found their groove. Like they actually found how to properly make everything. So I understand that this season had to be this way in order for them to finally find their groove in the 3rd season. So I would just say recommend, because when it does something good, it does it really well. You just got to get through a few episodes that drag on. So recommend, not a must watch, but definitely recommend. Next up is Spirit Chronicles. Okay, so if I didn't have the context of season 2, if I didn't already have the context of season 2, I would say it would be a must watch simply for the cliffhanger at the end of the season alone. The cliffhanger at the end of season 1 alone made it made it a must watch. I found it so interesting. The cliffhanger just had me on the edge of my seat. It's another isekai, and the dude got hit by the dude was on a trolley that got hit by a train passing by, and everyone on that trolley died and was reborn into this new world, and he ends up meeting a couple of the people that were reborn, and becomes friends with them, and yada yada yada. You know the drill. But then he ends up meeting his childhood friend from his past life. He meets his childhood friend who was summoned to this world. At the end of the first season, he sees them, he meets them, and that's just that cliffhanger just had me on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh no, that's how they end the season? They're reunited, and we don't get to see their interaction. They just come face to face. And so so if I didn't have the benefit of hindsight with season 2 already being out, I would say that would be a must watch. However, I watched season 2, and not only is it not as good as season 1, I can't remember half of what actually happens in the second season. I feel like they had a really good setup with, like, he came from nothing. He came from a very poor family. His mother was killed in front of him. He never knew his father. His father apparently died years ago. And he was accused of a crime he didn't commit, tortured by nobles for several weeks, telling him to confess to a crime that he didn't even commit to, so there's literally nothing for him to confess to. And then finally, the noble that he had saved, that he was accused of kidnapping in the first place, shows up, gets him to be released, gets him enrolled in a magic school. He starts acing all his classes, becomes the student of this lolly teacher, who's also one of the, I don't know if she's the main love interest. To be honest, I don't know who the main love interest in this series is, because, like, basically every single girl he meets he ends up having a bit of a romance with for a couple episodes, and then he leaves, and then has a romance with a couple other with another girl, and it keeps repeating, and I have no idea who the main love interest is supposed to be anymore. Because at this point, I think he has like 20 different girls who are all completely in love with him, and I have no idea who he has feelings for. But he basically becomes like an enemy of the kingdom. He becomes an enemy of the kingdom because like he keeps being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and keeps getting accused of all this stuff, and keeps getting accused of a whole bunch of different stuff. And so he's just kind of going on his own journey. He's just kind of going on his own journey, meeting people, making friends, making enemies, and it was so interesting to see him going on this journey and to see how many people, to see the whole kingdom turn against him, and see all of these other characters that he's befriended, like, start to basically be encouraged by him. They're encouraged by him to take hold of their own destinies, instead of just blindly letting the kingdom decide what they should and shouldn't do. And I don't know, it was interesting. It was an interesting series. And now in season 2, I feel like it's just kind of lost that. Like, most of the characters that we met in season 1 were pretty much completely forgotten about in season 2, with a few exceptions. And, like, he's no longer, trying to make friends. And then the entire kingdom that hated him, that whole plot thread was abandoned in season 2. And it feels like it doesn't really know what it wants to do anymore in season 2. And so it's just, with the benefit of hindsight, knowing that this is what season 2 this is what season 1 was leading up to, is like them being reunited, which, by the way, goes nowhere. He doesn't tell them who he is, and he gives them a safe place that they can be in, and then he just continues on his journey and just kind of leaves them there. And that's it. That whole plot thread is just kind of abandoned in like 2 episodes. So yeah, with the benefit of hindsight, knowing where the direction that season 2 goes in, I cannot say I recommend Spirit Chronicles. Like, I found myself enjoying the first season perfectly fine, but it's hard to recommend it knowing where the series goes after season 1. So I would say I do not recommend that one. Next up is How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. This is it's a very entertaining and funny series. That is a very entertaining and funny series. I don't want to talk about it, to be honest. I don't want to talk about it because it is something that I feel like you definitely need to see for yourself, because my description would not do it justice. Basically, how a realist hero rebuilt a kingdom. That alone, the title alone, should give you an idea of what you're going to be in for. It is an isekai. He gets summoned. And he's a realist. He's not an optimist or a pessimist. He's a realist, and he's very intelligent. So that alone should give you a pretty good idea of what you're going to be in store for. It is very entertaining. It ran for 2 seasons. No idea if we're getting any more. There hasn't been any announcement for a 3rd season just yet. But the 2nd season, oh god, when did the 2nd season come out? I want to say that was late 2023, I think. So there's still a chance that we could get a 3rd season. But I don't know. Let's see. I didn't notice this. My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom, Season 2. That was a good one. More Bacarina. So definitely a recommend on that one. Remake My Life. Um, Remake My Life. Uh, Main character is given a second chance at life. He basically goes back in time to a pivotal moment in his life where he had to make a choice to either go to go to an art college. He's been accepted into two colleges, and he has to make a choice whether to go to the art college that he wanted to go to, or go to a community college that basically guarantees a more stable job. And last time he chose to ignore his dreams and go with the more realistic option. Didn't work out for him. It didn't work out for him. Everything was terrible in his life. And yeah, it was not fun. So now he has a chance to redo it, and so he's going to arts. So he's going to art school, and he's redoing everything. And it's really entertaining. And he gets to meet people who, in his future, he admired immensely. He gets to meet them, and he's actually roommates with a lot of them. He's dorm mates with a lot of these people that he admired in his past life. And so yeah, it's a good series, and I really want there to be a second season, because the way season one ended was like, it wasn't necessarily a cliffhanger, but it definitely left me asking a lot of questions. So I really hope we get a season two, and unfortunately, this was summer 2021. It's been almost 4 years, and at this point, it's highly unlikely we will get a sequel, but I sincerely hope we do. Next, so Remake My Life, that is a recommend. Absolutely a recommend. Next up is Mother of Goddess Dormitory. Kid in middle school. Kid in middle school desperately needs a job that would give him a place to live, because he's homeless. He lost his parents, and so he ends up living in this dormitory filled with nothing but college girls. And yeah, I mean, I feel like that's all I need to say, and you've already kind of painted a picture in your mind as to what to expect from this series. And yes, it is a very naughty series. It is a very not safe for work series. It doesn't go quite as far as some other shows that are similar to this. A lot of these girls more so just kind of tease him and don't actually desire him. They more so just kind of tease him because he's a cute little kid. He's a cute kid, so they just like to tease him, but they don't actually feel romantically for him. Well, with the exception of maybe one character. Yeah, it's. But yeah, it is a good. It was a very entertaining series. I don't think it needs a season two, to be honest. If it gets a season two, great, but it doesn't really need one, since since the season technically ended on a pretty good note. So I feel pretty satisfied with the way the season ended. So I would say cautiously recommend, because if you're not really into the whole Shota X Onesan type situation, if you're not really into that, this is not for you. So I would say cautiously recommend, as it does have some good character arcs and some good comedy and good animation and good music. So I would say cautiously recommend for this one. Let's see. Next is Drugstore in Another World. This one, the art style is very cute, and the mascot of the series is adorable. She's this little wolf girl. She's this adorable little wolf girl. Adorable little wolf cub girl. And it is a very cute series. And it's basically just kind of a isekai slice of life type anime where not really much happens, and there's only a couple of locations in the whole anime. It's mostly just taking place in the drugstore itself. Most of the episodes basically just take place in the drugstore itself. So, I mean, I enjoyed my time watching it. I liked the animation. I liked... there were a couple characters I liked. I didn't like a lot of them, but there were a couple characters that I liked and thought were really cute. So, cautiously recommend, I guess. I can't fully recommend it simply because there's not a whole lot of substance to it, but I would say cautiously recommend. I can't, like... I wouldn't say I don't recommend... I definitely wouldn't say I don't recommend it. So... Okay. So now on to the last four. So next up is Idaten Deities Know Only Peace. Now, I really want a season 2 of this. Especially now that the series is done. The manga, the light novel, the light novel finished. The manga is almost finished. And the anime only had 11 episodes. It had 11 episodes because at that point it basically got caught up with the series. At that point, it got completely caught up with the series at that point with 11 episodes. Well, it not only did it get caught up with the manga, but it also actually had to go a little bit into the light novel. It had to go a little bit into the light novel that the manga is based on. The thing is, like, the manga is not one for one exactly like the light novel, because the light novel went, like, it kind of went in a completely different direction as the series went on. Whereas the manga, and both were made by the same person, mind you. Both the light novel and manga were made by the same person, and so the manga started to go into a slightly different direction. Still telling the same story, but goes in a slightly different direction where they tell the story a little bit differently than they told it before in the light novel. And so the anime was covering the manga until, like, the last episode where they had to, pull stuff from the light novel. But the manga is now finished, and there is enough to make a second season. There is enough content to make there is enough content to make a season 2, and only a season 2. It is definitely not long enough to get a third season. But there's enough content there for a second season, and I really, really, really hope that it gets it, because this anime has such an amazing art style. It really does. The art style is amazing. The opening and ending themes look gorgeous. They look absolutely stunning. The art style is incredible, and it actually does tell a really good and really entertaining story. And I'm not going to talk about it here. Just watch it. Absolutely watch it. It is really good. So absolutely recommend it. So I would say, you know what? I would say a must watch. I'd have that as a must watch. Ida Ten Deities No Only Piece, absolutely a must watch. So hopefully it gets a season 2 to cover the second half of the series. Even if the second season only ends up being like another 11 episodes, that's perfectly fine by me. I just want, I want them to finish the series. I want to see them like finish the series and see what the ending is in animation form. I can go and read the manga. I know I can go and read the manga, and I probably will. If we don't get a confirmation for the anime soon. But yeah, must watch. Next is The Great Jahi Will Not Be Defeated. This ran for 20 episodes and absolutely hilarious. It is an absolutely hilarious series. It is a reverse isekai. So we've got the magical person coming to our world, and she was this like cat girl demon. She was like the second in command. She was the second in command of the demon army, and she was the second in command of the demon army, and things were great. And then she was sent, by the hero to this new world. She was sent here to this new world, and she lost all her power, and now she's tiny. and she's now tiny, and she's living in a one-room apartment. It's entertaining. It is super entertaining, super funny, lots of fun characters, lots of great, amazing character interactions, and there is an ongoing plot with her trying to accumulate more power so she can eventually go back home. But yeah, it is a very entertaining must watch. Definitely a must watch. Next is Moonlit Fantasy. I love this. It's only 12 episodes. This first season is 12 episodes. It will later on get a second season that is much longer. But the first season is only 12 episodes, and I love it. I love this series. This is one of the this is, honest to God, like probably one of my top 10 favorite isekais. Like top 10 favorite isekais. Love this series. So it is absolutely a must watch. I'm not even going to go into what the plot of it is. All I can really say is screw that goddess bitch who summoned him. Screw her. And you will understand it when you watch the first episode. Absolutely screw her. I hate her. So, but yeah, must watch. And lastly, The Duke of Death and His Maid, Season 1. I love this series. Top 10 favorite rom-coms. Absolutely top 10 favorite rom-coms. I absolutely adore this series to death. The Duke of Death and His Maid. It is so good. As the title suggests, the Duke of Death, the Duke of Death, he has a maid, but he also has a curse. Everything he touches dies. He's in love with his maid, and she's in love with him, but the two of them can't be together, because if he touches her, she dies. He goes through his life unable to touch anyone, unable to touch anyone, unable to touch anyone, unable to touch anything. Because if it's alive, he dies when he touches it. the only things he can touch are like inanimate objects and food somewhat. Like if it's already cooked for him, already made, he can touch it. He can touch it. He can eat it. But if he goes out into the garden to try to pull out a tomato, that tomato is gonna go rotten. That tomato is gonna go rotten if he touches it. And it is so cute. It is absolutely adorable. It is a wonderful love story, and he's living alone with his maid and his butler, and it's just the three of them living alone in this mansion out in the forest, because his family basically sent him there to keep him away from society. And he is just desperately trying to find a way to break the curse, so that way him and his maid can be together. And she is doing everything in her power as well to help him find a way to break the curse, because she wants to be with him too. And it is so cute. It is so cute, and throughout the whole series, you're just rooting on these two. Please find a way to break his curse. Find a way to do it, so you two can finally be together. And it ran for 3 seasons. The series is done. It's done. It's finished. There's no more. The story is over, and I love it. It is perfect. It is a perfect love story that just tugs at my heartstrings with every episode. I love this series so much. So this is a wonderful series. This is an absolutely wonderful series. I absolutely adore it. And I would say this is absolutely a must-watch. This is definitely a must-watch. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's it. That's all 12. So, that's it. So next time we will be talking about the fall 2021 lineup, and I've got, let's see, 10, 11. Yeah, 11. I've got 11 animes to watch then. I've got 11 animes to talk about then. Nice. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good jazz, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.